Hey friend, welcome back to the Created Worthy podcast. I am your host and fellow worthy warrior, Danielle Damrell. On this show, we are creating space for genuine connection by unifying women of all ages, backgrounds, and experiences. So grab your favorite drink and get ready to listen as we take a deep dive into our stories, making sure to honor and protect them in the process. We will also uncover the threads of creative processing that have already played a part in each of our lives. When we know how to utilize this as a skill, we can continue growing into the joy-filled, triumphant women we are created to be. You are created worthy. Hello, welcome back to the Created Worthy podcast. Today, I'm joined by another worthy warrior, Alejandra Marqués. Alejandra Marqués is the go-to time and lean system strategist for busy entrepreneurs and corporate employees alike. Her mission is to empower ambitious, full-time entrepreneurs, side hustlers, and busy corporate employees to achieve their goals without burning out. She also wants to help them to design time management systems that suit their needs, have work-life balance, and create more time for the things that matter to them most. She does this through her signature Time protocol. Alejandra is a best-selling author, and her expertise has been featured in publications including Entrepreneur, Yahoo Finances, Inc. Magazine, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, Medium, Authority Magazine, Thrive Global, and so many more. Not only has Alejandra impacted thousands of people already through the work she does, but she also happens to be one of the sweetest humans on the planet. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person just a few months back after almost 2 whole years of being internet friends. And wow, she really is such a great source of inspiration and wisdom. And it is such an honor to have her here today. Alejandra, thank you so much for joining us today on the Created Worthy podcast. I can't wait to hear more about your real life story.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction and for having me here. It's crazy feeling like it's been already 2 full years and just meeting you this past October. Like
Right?
it's so cool how the internet world like functions, and I'm really excited about today's podcast. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so excited that you're here. I would love for you to just start with telling us a little bit about where you're from and your experience growing up.
Okay, well, this is a long answer, I think, but I'm actually from Venezuela. I grew up in Caracas, and when I turned 18, I moved with my family to Spain. I lived 8 years in Barcelona, and now I'm living in a beautiful island in the Canary Islands in Tenerife. So a bit of moving here and there, but very excited for everything that's yet to come.
Yes, that is exciting. So, so you grew up in Venezuela, is that what you said? And at
Yes.
what point did you move to Spain?
When I turned 18, like it was finishing high school and saying, okay, we are going to start a new life. We are going to, well, my parents wait for me to finish high school so I can start fresh at university and not kind of break a cycle in the middle of it. So we just say, hey, it's your turn to go to university. Let's move. Because seriously, the situation in Venezuela was so hard, both political and economical. We say we need to go.
Yeah.
And that was the time we decided just to go to Spain.
So your parents moved with you as well.
Yes, the whole family.
Wow. The whole family. So yeah, tell me about your family. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I do. I have, I will say, quote unquote, little brother, because he's younger than me, but way taller than me.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't that weird how that happens?
yeah, it feels so weird saying he's little, but yeah.
So you have one little brother and then you've got your parents and you're currently in Spain right now and your parents are also still in Spain. Is your brother still in Spain?
No, he's right now in Portugal. He's a football player, so he travels a lot. Last year he was in Italy, this year I'm in Portugal. So I get to know a lot of places thanks to him.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, so much travel. You are already like, just from the few conversations we've had, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to travel like Alejandra does. You seem to see so many different places and go so many different, have so many beautiful opportunities, which I would love actually to jump into. What Before we get into what you do now, what did you go to college for?
Yeah. So when I started university, I really wanted, like, all the time I had this thought in my mind that I wanted to become an entrepreneur someday. It kind of, I kind of forget about that when I started college, but in my mind there was that, what's that thing that will really help me to create my own business, to manage it. So I decided to study business administration and, well, business management administration, and then I say, what can I pair it with so I don't get screwed? I know entrepreneurship is hard, and I really wanted to make sure that I can cover my back, so I studied also law at university, so 2 degrees at the same time. Yes, I'm crazy
So
like
you are a
that.
double major.
Yes.
Wow. So law, are you, did you have to, I don't know how it works across the world, but is there like a bar exam for law?
Yes, there is a bar exam here, and you also have to go through a master's to be able to be a lawyer in here. So it's not only the college; it's then a master, and then you go to the bar and start being a lawyer. So I did that. I took my master in law, and then, well, thinking my family, you will discover during this conversation that my family is my number one motivation. I decided that I also wanted to study sports law, just in case I can help my brother somehow. So I had two masters as well.
That is incredible. So at what point did you decide, were you working like as a lawyer for any point of time? You were?
Yes and no.
Okay.
As I said, since the beginning, I feel like I had everything so clear in my mind. I didn't want to just jump into university and study and not doing anything else. So I decided that I also wanted to gain that real life experience. And I started working in notary offices, like seeing how that work. And then I was in one of the biggest law firms in Spain in litigation. So there were a lot of cases, international cases, a lot of English, which you can tell I like. And then I just decided that I wanted to do something different. I also was a criminal law professor, so I dived into a couple things. Even if I like it, I knew that that was not the life that I wanted to have for the rest of my life. So yeah, I just did a couple things.
Yeah. So you tried it. So then let's talk about how you ended up as a time management specialist. How in the world did that all start?
Well, everything started, I feel like it was right when the pandemic hit. I felt like that was the perfect time for me to sit down and say, what do I really want? Do I really want to? Because I was just graduating for these two masters, and I was about to jump into a law firm. I got the offer. I was ready to jump in as a junior, and I was like, is this what I truly want, or do I want something else out of my life? And I say, hey, let's try something else. I saw a couple of friends. We actually met the same mentor through this friend. So I saw this friend doing coaching, and she was very happy, like 100% owning her schedule, traveling. And I was like, this was interesting. I never thought this was possible. So when I sit down and I ask myself, how do I want to help people? Like, what's that thing that people always ask my advice for? And it was, how do I manage to do it all? I'm a multi-passionate person. As I told you, I was studying these 2 degrees, working 2 to 3 part-time jobs at the same time. I love languages. I feel like my passion for traveling comes also from the passion of learning new languages. And I was spending time with my loved ones, and everything just turned out in a way that people was like, how do you even have time for that? How do you manage to do all of this? How you are keeping your sanity and enjoying your personal time and all of that. And I say, this is exactly what I want to help people with, is making the time for things that actually matter the most to you, achieving your goals, no matter how big they are, no matter how crazy they are, and doing it in a way that for you feels good. like not hitting that burnout point, because I can assure you I hit burnout a couple times in my life. So I wanted to make sure that people can not only get rid of it once they're living it, but also prevent it. So that's how everything started with my coaching business. I just wanted to help a lot of people being able to control their own time. As I like to say, it goes beyond managing it. For me, it's really how you own it.
Oh my gosh, that's a mic drop moment right there. I love that you did that. Like you took from what you've walked through and what people were asking you, hey, how do you do this? Like, I mean, honestly, a law degree in itself seems so overwhelming to me. But then to do a business degree as well, you must have really been able to like put a process in place that worked, right? And then you realized that it worked. And then you were like, I can help other people with this, which I think is really how we're called to live, right? We're called to use the lessons and the experiences that we walk to not only grow in our own personal journeys, but to help other people grow in theirs. So I think that's really admirable that that's like what you did just so naturally. So in the pandemic, you said that that's when you decided that it was time for you to do something more with this knowledge. So would you say that that was like there was like a certain moment that was your breakthrough moment?
I feel like it was that moment, like when I was about to sign the contract, saying yes, I'm in. Let's go. Let's be a junior. I was very excited. I mean, the offer they gave me was way better than anything that I saw here in Spain. But then I realized I didn't want to work so much time on an office or working for someone else. And I felt like the pandemic really kind of gave me that breakthrough that, hey, I can work from home, I can have more free time. Even at that time, we couldn't travel. I knew that I can, well, once the world opens again, I could travel more. And that was the moment when I say, no, 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 I really don't want to just work hundreds and hundreds of hours on an office. Even if I really like law, I was not passionate about it.
Right.
So that was the moment. And I saw my family together, and I've always loved being with my family. So just being able to be there for them in special occasions and just saying, you know what, if I want, I will take that time free and go with you and go visit my brother in Portugal and go visit my family in Barcelona and let's travel together. That for me is freedom. Not only for the traveling, but being able to say, I will block my calendar and I will go with you guys.
And I will be
That's great.
present with you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So were you actually like sitting down in an office about to sign, or you were? So did you?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no, not actually in the office. That would be weird.
I know. I was like, how did you like walk out of that room?
No, actually, I already had accepted the offer. I just needed to send back those documents, and I
Okay.
had to call that person and say, "Hey, I really appreciate it, but I got something better. I know I got something better. I didn't even have my business established or even a client, but I just told them like I know I have something better in my hands, so I really appreciate it." And that's how everything started. More time for diving into my business.
Yes. So tell me how you got that first client or figured out what you were actually going to offer. Because I'm sure that like knowing that you have something that's valuable and then actually putting an offer together to help someone, like those are two very different things. There's a lot of work that goes into figuring out exactly what you're going to offer. So yeah, just
Yeah,
take us through what that was like from, okay, I'm not accepting this and now I got to do something else.
it was scary. For sure, it was scary because I knew that I have something amazing to offer, but no idea how to market it, how to sell it. Probably you cannot tell right now, but I'm 100% an introvert, and I was so afraid of speaking, and I hated being on camera. And obviously, English is not my first language, so 2 years ago, I felt like that was a huge barrier. And I say, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's see how I can put this together. I worked with a mentor at that time. She said, okay, let's start with a month of you helping someone weekly and just listening what they need and what are your best tricks and tips on how you can develop this. That didn't work that well at the beginning, to be honest. I felt like I was giving a lot of information, but people had a hard time implementing it. And I knew that I needed kind of more hands on your calendar and really being able to support you for a longer time, because you won't change your life and your habits and your routines in a month. And that's the thing. Even if people say you can develop a new habit in 21 days, I really wanted to support people on the long run. So that's when I met Rebecca, our mentor at that time.
Yes.
And she helped me kind of nail down my protocol. My time protocol came out of a call with her, and she was like, what are those things that you make sure you want to let people know when it comes to time, like how they can own it according to you? And I came out with this time protocol that's a 4-pillar process or path that I like to take people, because I feel like these 4 pillars are really what are going to create this change. So time stands for tracking, impact, motivation, and evolution. And inside each of these pillars is really how I guide you through this transformation. So for me, I tested out with a couple of clients at the beginning. Obviously, I had free clients, just beta testers, and see how that works. In here, another revelation that I got is, yes, you can get a lot of feedback from beta testers and gain that confidence, but they won't invest that much time and dedication into your work.
Yeah,
And
because
that was hard for me.
you put your money, like when you invest something financially, you show up. When you don't
Yes.
have any financial, yeah, then it's hard to get people to show up and to take what you're offering seriously, because there's no consequence, for lack of better words, for them if they don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that for me was a really hard realization, because every time that I got a course or a program or something for free, I was so grateful. I was 100% in it. Like, seriously, anytime that I got the opportunity to work with someone for free, I'm like, let's make the most out of the experience. And seeing the other side of that of that coin, people just not showing up because that was free. They didn't have this financial commitment to it. They didn't have the pressure in it. So I decided I needed to start charging, even if it was a little, and see how that works. I did saw a better improvement in there, but again, if it is not really a true commitment for you, you still are not invested enough into the process. So kind of seeing that helped me develop a better package, let's call it this way. So you can feel like, okay, it's at least a 3, 6, 12 months process. You know, you're going to be committed to it. This is how we're going to be working. This is all the things that you need to do. And I'm here to hold you accountable. And the other thing that I always say is, you need to be honest with me. If I told you to do, if I tell you to do something and you didn't do it, please tell me that. We need to figure out why you didn't do it. Don't say, yes, I did it, it went great, if you didn't, because otherwise you won't make that progress. So all these kind of things start popping up during those first clients and during this full almost 3 years. I feel like already it's been quite a journey.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So you mentioned very briefly your time protocol. Can you take us through just a quick overview of that one more time?
Absolutely. So the time stands for tracking, impact, motivation, and evolution. And for me, since the beginning and everything that I do, always start with analyzing what's going on so I can know what needs to be changed. So that tracking is to start gaining that awareness around everything that's going on in your life, with your time, with your schedule, like everything that surrounds you. Because if you want to get to point Z, you need to know where you're standing, what point A looks like. So that's why that awareness is something I make sure everybody if you're studying absolutely anything, it's not only for my program, it's not only for my process, it's for everything that you're doing in life. Please start with analyzing, reflect a little bit on everything that you're currently doing. Then the second phase, the second pillar is impact. And this is all about your habits, your routines, your mindset. It's so important to dive into your mindset because our thoughts are the ones that influences everything that we do. So how you think about implementing a new habit or a new routine if your mind is not into that? How you expect to wake up at 5 a.m. if you completely hate it? And by the way, I'm not part of the 5 a.m. club. I never recommend doing it if you don't like it. So these are the kind of things you need to start seeing. And the other thing about the impact is I didn't want this to be a quick fix. I really don't want to help people be more productive because you need to deliver something in a month and then you forget about it, or hey, let's implement this and tomorrow you stop doing it. I wanted this to be long lasting. And that's where I feel like really impact was the word for it. It's making it long lasting. This is for your whole life. Your time is your whole life. So that's why I really wanted to make that pillar number 2. Then we go to the motivation, because yes, it's amazing having big goals, big dreams, but if you're not motivated enough with the right motivation, you won't do it. Again, you will wake up and say, oh no, I'll start tomorrow, I'll do it on Monday. Yeah. Let's wait till New Year. Like, this is the moment where everybody starts like, yeah, I have all these resolutions, I have all these amazing things. But how you are going to back it up every single day? What's that motivation? And inside this pillar, what I help people with is really defining that internal motivation. It's not only about rewards and punishments, because that's what society has taught us, but what's on your inside? What will really drive you from the inside to get to where you want to be?
What's up, everyone? It's Morgan, the producer of this beautiful show and also the host of the Half Hood, Half Holy podcast. Just jumping in here with a word from our sponsor.
Hey there, friend. I'm Danielle Damrell, and for so long, I thought my brain was broken beyond repair. I could identify all the problems with my life, but I didn't feel like I was actually capable of fixing them. After 12 plus years of intensive therapy, I realized that there was never going to be a quick fix. The solution lied in showing up to check in and care for myself. Time where I set intentions like processing who I am at my core and processing what it would look and feel like to be fully present in order to authentically connect with my family, friends, and my community. Healing doesn't happen overnight, and everyone's journey looks different. Developing resilience happens through continuing to persevere in the hard times and finding peace and joy in life, even when you're walking through an overwhelming, confusing, or even downright scary season. This realization is how I discovered creative processing, a method that combines many coping skills and mental health tools into a tangible action that has immediate grounding effects. And the best part? You're probably already doing it. But now, I have finally found a way to show you how to utilize it as a skill in your everyday life. I would like to invite you, yes, you, to join me on the evening of January 17th at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time for a free creative processing workshop. Our intention is going to be to process you. I will take you on a journey of what it looks like to actually put creative processing into action. Taking time to process who you are at your core is not selfish. In fact, think of this as a whole new way to practice self-care. A way for you to dive into your subconscious and draw out all the ways that you are uniquely you in order to create space in your fast-paced life to dream and overcome all the creative and emotional blocks we all face all the time. Sometimes we just need a little guidance to bump us back into living in alignment. So come, bring your favorite pen, download the guidebook that I've created just for you, and let's process through creating together. I want to take a minute to speak directly to any mamas for a second. As moms, we don't always feel like we have the right to slow down. But the truth is, your mind, body, and soul needs you to slow the frick down. You need time to check in and care for yourself. So schedule a babysitter or put your husband on kid duty, because I promise this is an opportunity for you to fill your cup. All right, everyone. The link to register is in the show notes. Save your seat today, and I'll see you there.
Hi, everyone. It's me again. I just want to say I've actually been through this workshop twice now, and I am not the meeting/workshop type of person. And she's not lying when she says this will really help you connect with yourself. Not only that, but I have experienced how close my connection with God can actually be when I just take time to really focus in on me. So just give it a try. What's there to lose? Also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out the Half Hood, Half Holy podcast, where Danielle and I take nothing serious except for our love for the Lord.
It's a pretty explicitly Christian comedy podcast, so make sure to listen if you want to laugh a little.
Okay, back to the show.
And then the evolution is basically because we are human beings. We grow every single day. Our life changes, our goal changes. And I want you to be able to change your routines, your habits, and everything you've learned according to that, so that you can tweak it, you can improve it, you can make it work for you. That's why I say designing systems that suits you and designing this life to support what truly matters the most to you. On that evolution is how you are able to grow your comfort zone, how to keep moving forward when you already expanded and now you want more, how you will keep moving forward and how you will keep changing every single day in your life. That's the evolution for me.
I love that. So it's preparing them for this to be a lifelong thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's
so that they can continue to grow and continue to evolve. And it's not just like, okay, now you're done. Good luck. Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh. So in your bio, it mentioned that you have been in a lot of different publications. What did you do? At what point did you start like pitching and talking more publicly about this to news agencies and all of the different places that you've written and spoke about this specifically?
It's actually very funny because when I started pitching to magazines, I didn't even have a website. I think I just got a one paid client and I didn't actually have a full setup, but I was so sure about what I wanted to offer. And that's where Rebecca came in. She really helped me with, oh, these are the ways that you can start pitching to magazines. And she has been, well, my true support in the whole PR, the whole PR journey that I've been. And the more that I pitch to people, being really confident on what I wanted to offer, the more I get picked. And then when people pick me, I was like, holy shit, this is true. Like, I'm the expert. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm doing. This is valuable, because if they wouldn't feel like it's valuable, it would be hard for me to say, oh, maybe I need to change something. But seeing that other people recognize the value on what I wanted to help people with is like, okay, yes, people need this. So I'm on the right track. I will keep moving forward. I will keep pushing and developing this. And then more press came in. I started to pitch into more and more press, to podcasts. Now I love doing podcasts like this. Yeah. Even if at the beginning I completely hated it, like seriously, no, I won't say I loved it at the beginning. I didn't. I got TV press, and when I launched my book, that's when everything kind of exploded. Over 300 publications this year, thanks to the book. And that for me, it's insane. I never ever dreamed about being on a magazine or being on TV. I was like, that's so out of reach. And now seeing everything that I achieved on these 2 years is like, oh my God, this is huge. It's a dream that I never knew that I had.
Yeah. You did it. You did it. You wrote a book, which is so, like, you are such an inspiration. I know one day I would love to write a solo book. I've helped guide 2 groups of authors through collaborative books, and I'm actually going to be guiding my 3rd group of authors in the beginning of 2023. So I'm very excited about that. But I would love for you to just walk us through the process from concept to completion with that book. Have you like always known that you wanted to publish a book?
No, it happened
No.
exactly like with the magazines. I never thought that I could be prepared enough to write a book, not to mention it was in English. Like that for me was like, no, you're kidding. I cannot write a book in English now. Okay, let's see how this works. So the whole process was really just following a very robust system that someone gave me that had already published and been in becoming a bestseller book by following this step from someone who already did it. Like that's the number one thing that I say, oh, now I'm getting interested into publishing a book. Who already did it? Let me find their help. Let me follow that process and see how that works. And then I know that you're all about the creative process. And this for me was a revelation because I've never considered myself good enough like to put out all the words for a book. Like, yes, I can write amazing essays. That's what college taught me. That's what high school taught me.
Yeah.
I can write essays that hundreds of pages long. But a book, it had to be something that really delivered a lot of value. I wanted it to be short. I don't want it to be 500 pages. I want it to be concise, very lightweight, so you can have it in your purse and read it anywhere. So being concise and putting all my process and my thoughts into this little book has been one of the most amazing experiences that I had. And I had to make the time for it. So it's really what the most creative time for me. Am I going to write a book at 2 p.m. after lunch? Hell no.
Right. You
You're
have to prepare for that.
Exactly. You're not going to be creative or being on the mood right after eating. Like you get that down.
Yes.
Or at 10 p.m. at night, if you're completely wasted, if you're done with the day, that's not your most creative time. And in here, one of the best advices that I can give to anyone is gain awareness, really get to know yourself and what are the times that you're the most creative for anything, for your book, for your painting, for your pinches, anything that you want to do. What's the time on the day that you feel like you're really creative, intuitive, like you can get into it and flow for, I don't want to say for hours, but sometimes it is like that. So
Yeah.
I sat down and start trying and error, seeing what worked best for me in the morning, in the evenings. And I kind of figured out that for me, I really had a lot of thoughts at night, like intuitive ideas, but not the whole writing itself. So at night, I just bring up everything that came to my mind. And in the morning, after doing my morning routine, that's when I sit down and start writing the whole thing. And it was so easy doing it that way for me. It was like, I have the creative space and now I'm into doing mode. And that's how I feel like it really helped me get it done in 2 months of writing, I think it was.
Wow, you wrote it in 2 months. That's incredible. I love that. That actually, I think, really well ties into what you told me your favorite quote was, which is change your thoughts and you can change your world. And that also plays into creative processing, which I think you've heard me talk about creative processing at various times throughout our friendship. But just a reminder, creative processing is a tool that we can all use to activate our creative mind to process through a certain intention. And you stated that planning and organizing were your top creative processing methods, as well as music, which we'll get into in just a second. You just shared a little bit about your process of like taking it from planning to execution, right? And the thing that makes creative processing special is one, that we're all already doing it. Just most people don't yet realize the power of setting a clear intention to accompany how we're already choosing to create. But when you set that intention, you're utilizing creative processing as a tangible tool or coping skill to bring clarity, hope, renewed excitement, or whatever positive feeling you're seeking. So the difference between creative process and creative processing is that a creative process results in a beautiful end result. Your focus is making a beautiful end result. Whereas creative processing is your focus is that you feel like that what you're creating is for an intention. You are accomplishing something from within that makes you settled and clear and be able to find joy even in the midst of chaos and stress. Or if you are facing burnout, it's a really tangible way to be like, nope, we're not going to lean into this. We're not going to sit in these feelings. We're going to do something to change that mindset, turn that light switch on so that we can get back into that creative zone. We can conquer those creative blocks and we can keep moving forward and making our dreams reality. So one thing that I just quickly put together for you with your love of music is that for you, you could use a simple prompt like the purpose of dancing and singing, because that's what you said you love to do, is to process your growth or your relationship or your friendships. And when you go into something like, I'm going to dance and sing right now just to process my growth. And just in case you or any of our listeners are interested, I have a bunch of creative processing playlists on Spotify for all different types of intentions. One of my favorites is I'm a Strong Ass Woman. And it just helps me to remember that I'm a strong ass woman and so are you. And we are doing this thing together. And then there's another one that's called Trusting Your Journey. And that playlist is really good for like when you're like, oh, I have imposter syndrome, or I don't feel like I'm moving forward. A really good playlist to listen to. But also there's music in there that you jam out and dance and sing and people know the songs. And but going into that with that intention of like, I'm going to process my growth, because I think a lot of times we sit and we're just kind of stuck in our minds and we're like, oh yeah, I did that thing. I had that opportunity. I accomplished that big thing. But then we just keep moving forward, or eventually something happens and we're just like stuck. We're like, I don't get it. I haven't done anything. I'm so like, you're so down on yourself. But this is something there's a lot of tools out there, but creative processing is the one that has worked best for me and a lot of people that I've met, to where it's just something like, I'm going to choose to engage in this thing so that I can process everything that I'm walking through, have walked through, will walk through. I can do that vision casting. I can, I even honestly, I think time management or time blocking, I think that's something that you talk about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that I feel like is a creative processing activity, because you're setting your intention, right? To protect your schedule, to honor to create time freedom, and going into that with that very clear intention of like, I'm doing this to process this. That way I can overcome this. And by the time you're done with that 15 minutes to 3 hours, you could do this for 12 hours straight. Like sometimes you need to just listen to your body and your heart and your mind and lean into what you need. But however long it is, there's always a change. That's how our minds work. It's that slowing down to speed back up type of thing.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I've never thought so much about this creative processing and the difference that you just mentioned. It's really like, oh, okay, yeah, absolutely. I will absolutely start thinking more about that. And one thing I wanted to say is that 100% agree that a lot of people are so into the doing, into the next thing to achieve. And I was like that. I was 100% overachiever, perfectionist. But pausing for a minute and looking back and seeing how much you have accomplished, it doesn't matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how far it looks. Right. Just take a look and process it and say, oh, look at everything that I accomplished this year. We've been through a couple of rough years, and I can assure you, you've done more than you think if you only stop for a second and start thinking about it and celebrate it. Like really start bucketing the time and blocking it for celebration. So I 100% want those Spotify lists.
Yes, I will put them in the show notes for sure, and I'll send them to you.
Thank you, because I 100% believe that you need to put yourself into the mood that you want for accomplishing everything. So I love what you mentioned. So yeah. Sure.
Thank you. So yeah, it's really one of those things that is just like, when you know better, you do better. And it's harnessing the creativity that we already have just to move that needle forward, just even 1%. And like you said, that 1% or even that 0.0001% is worth celebrating. Just showing up for yourself, which I'm sure this is what you see with your clients every day. It's what I see with mine. It's what I see with everyone I work with. Just showing up for yourself is more than half the battle. So when you do it, that's evidence of growth. That's evidence that you're in a growth cycle. And when you do that one action, that one thing that you know, oh my gosh, like I went into this feeling this way, but I'm walking out feeling this way. And then you keep showing up, you're in a growth cycle. And that's so worth celebrating. It doesn't matter how slow the growth is. It's worth celebrating because you're doing the work.
Yeah, I love that. And to be honest, that's kind of how I feel with podcasts or TV. Or it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know. I'm kind of, oh, I'm getting into this episode. I'm going to record it. Maybe, oh, I don't know how I feel. And then after it's just like, that was great. I need to celebrate it. And I
Yeah.
did it. And just keep moving forward. So yeah, it doesn't matter how small it is for you, but it's something that you should always, always acknowledge and recognize and be good to yourself.
Yes. Yes. I actually did my first creative processing workshop last week from this time that we're recording right now. And that was the last prompt was about self-love and self-acceptance and how self-love is a practice. It's not a destination. It's not something that as human beings, I believe we're fully capable of living in, but it's something that we're capable of practicing. And creative processing is a really great way to practice that self-love because you're pouring into yourself. You're saying, I am worth it, just as it would be if you go to therapy, which I'm always a huge advocate for therapy. If you, especially if you've walked through any kind of deep trauma, go to therapy. But if that's not a possibility right now, like just try creative processing. That is one way that you can pour into yourself. You can slow down. You can check in. And you can say, like, I'm worth this. I really am. I'm worthy of living a life that I love. I don't have to sit in burnout. I don't have to sit in stress or be living in this forward motion. A couple interviews ago, I interviewed this woman named Nicole Ritter. We had a great conversation and she talked about how depression or anxiety is really forms when we're living in the future and depression really forms when we're living in the past. So living in the present really is the only way to walk through life with joy and peace. And I was like, that is so true. Although we do have to process the past and it is healthy to vision cast the future, but you don't want to live in those places, right? You want to be able to enjoy that. You want to be like, even if you walked through something hard, that's something I've been working through in therapy for 10 plus years now, is being able to look back at my life and be like, wow, that was a really challenging season that I walked through, but that doesn't dictate who I am today. That idea when you go through trauma therapy is that you put your trauma into little file folders so that you can pull them out and use them to help other people in their journeys or to process through what you're walking through when a trigger comes up. And then you can go ahead and put that back in the file folder and it doesn't affect how you live and you walk every single day. So yeah, I love this conversation and I love how much like the time management and making time to celebrate, like that piece that you just brought up. It's like, yes, like we really do. And the older I get, the more I realize how I need a plan for everything or else like it makes me so anxious. So like planning that time for celebration, it's pretty simple. Seems pretty like a pretty simple way I can show up for myself
And you
and
get to enjoy
in
it
turn
a
love
lot.
myself. Yeah. So before we close up today, are there any big plans coming up in 2023 that you'd like to share with us?
Whew, so many, to be honest.
Yay.
I'm working on the translation of my book. I jumped in and I did it in English. I'm very proud of that. But now I really want to bring it to the Hispanic community. I'm writing it in Spanish. So that was a huge thing that I wanted to do.
And you're doing
It's
it
coming.
yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
I'm translating it myself because I don't want that to be a plain translation. I really want to put my heart and soul again and sharing everything from my Hispanic perspective. And then a lot of traveling. This 2023 will be a lot of traveling, a lot of speaking engagements, and a lot of time to celebrate. So those are the main things that I have planned for this year. And business growth, I know it will come a lot during this year.
It will. You continue. You are a perfect example of somebody who shows up and you do the work and you push past your, especially knowing now that you're an introvert, like you're pushing way past your comfort zones every single day. Even just you sitting here, I'm like, wow, like that would be really hard. I'm an extrovert. So for me, I'm like, this is fun. But my husband is an introvert. And I know that when we recorded one episode on the first season of Created Worthy, he was like, this is so painful. Like, this is not who I am. But yes, you show up with so much grace and you share so beautifully. So I'm excited for the Hispanic community to be able to read your book next year, and that you're doing it yourself. That's really cool because you get to put it really in your own words in that language, which I'm sure translation wise, like if you just hired a translator or something, it would never be.
It won't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same.
You won't feel me on that one if I just ask someone to translate it. So I really want people to get to know me, get to know my voice, and if you have read it in English and you also speak Spanish, give it a shot.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I would be so curious. I don't speak Spanish, but I would be really curious to hear from someone like, how does this read? Like, yeah. So where can people find and connect with you?
So you can connect with me either on LinkedIn or on Instagram. I will be dropping the links on the episode note. Well, you'll be dropping it. But you can also follow me on the website. I always keep it updated with the new podcast that I've been in, the new media, or anything that I have going on. It's always on the website. It's alejandramarquez.com. I wanted to make it easy.
Yes. And we will have all of your links in the show notes as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm most active on LinkedIn, on Instagram. And if you want to get the book either on English or Spanish, it's actually right now on Amazon, the English version, and also on my website. So either way, you can have it worldwide.
I love that. I'm making a note right now to add your book link in the show notes as well. So you can go ahead and head to the show notes if you want to grab her book, or I'm sure any of her social media her Instagram, her LinkedIn, her website, all of the places. Go connect with her. She is an incredible source of wisdom. I am so grateful to have spent time with you here today and for your courage and vulnerability to share your story. Keep guiding other women towards the freedom of truly enjoying their time, accomplishing big things, and experiencing life to the fullest. You, my friend, are created worthy. Thanks for tuning in to the Created Worthy podcast. If anything in today's show resonated with you, can you do me a huge favor and go leave a 5-star review? This helps more listeners find the show, and it also expands the impact, messages, and stories that are shared here. All the links and guest information are in the show notes. If you're on social media, I want to personally invite you to continue the conversations about these important topics that we're talking about. You can find Created Worthy on both Instagram and Facebook by just typing in Created Worthy Podcast. Can't wait to talk to you soon, friend. And don't forget, you are created worthy.